Hey there, I'm Pete Townsend, and this is Money Never Sleeps. We look inside the minds of entrepreneurs and at the crossover of startups, enterprise, finance, technology, and life as we know it. This episode of Money Never Sleeps is sponsored by Pat FinTech, the training partner that demystifies fintech and digital finance for financial services professionals. On the show this week, we've got Ankur Mohan,
I'm Ankur Mohan, founder and CEO of MarketXLS.
sharing his story on MarketXLS, who provide a leading Excel-based investment research platform with a belief that each investor and strategy is unique, and that building and executing a great investment strategy should not require a PhD or $1 million budget. In this chat, we get into Ankur's entry point into Galway in the west of Ireland to launch MarketXLS, what kinds of users just prefer the simplicity and control of Excel for managing personal and professional portfolios, closing the gap between the haves and the have-nots of the investing world, and the lifelong benefit of hard work. All right here on Money Never Sleeps. Do you have any sunshine left in Galway tonight?
Not tonight. It's still a bit cloudy. Yeah,
We got sunshine over here on the East Coast in Dublin.
it's not like that here.
No, it always amazed me, Galway, when I was there for college in '94, back when it was UCG. Now it's NUIG.
Right.
And what always amazed me was how late the sun goes down, right?
Oh yeah, now it is still bright. So it's like what 9 p.m. and it's like I think it will go down in another 1 hour or so. It's so bright.
Absolutely. And it was crazy. Like, I think it was the first time I went out on a Friday night towards the end of May, beginning of June, with my flatmate David. I was living in Core Village in Galway. And
Right.
I forget the name of the pub he brought me to, but we were playing snooker. And
Yes.
I was terrible at snooker, right? And he's like, "All right, let's stop actually playing. Why don't we just practice potting balls?" I'm like, "Great." We had a
Right.
couple pints, and then we came outside afterwards, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's still bright. What happened?" And it was like
Yeah.
10
That-
o'clock.
yeah.
But no, that was fun. But listen, so Ankur, anyway, you've got a really fascinating story, and can you share that story and how you got to this point? Kind of walking us through the different steps along your career and to the point of launching MarketXLS in 2015.
So I'm originally from India and I graduated from College of Business Studies, University of Delhi. I did my MBA in marketing from Institute of Management Studies. I have around 20 years of experience in pricing strategy, financial analytics, marketing research in various multinational companies like Colt Technology Services, WNS. My biggest experience in terms of the corporate life has been with the company called Colt Technology Services, where in my last role, I was responsible for setting up the prices, devising the pricing strategy of products which are IT infrastructure products. And for the last 5 years, I've been focusing on Market XLS and making sure we kind of grow Market XLS not just as a company, but also helping the users who I feel at the moment there is a big disconnect in terms of information asymmetry between the Wall Street investors and the Main Street investors, the smaller investors, individuals who are investing their own money versus big hedge funds and money managers who have sufficient funds to have access to the information and tools which sometimes give them an edge. So yeah, for the last 5 years, I've been in Galway. I was actually a part of an Enterprise Ireland initiative. So it's a program called International Competitive Start Fund, where they call companies from across the globe to come to Ireland and then set up business here. So in that process, I came and pitched Market XLS here in Ireland, and the investment committee liked Market XLS product. And during that process, I moved to Ireland, and I was introduced to mentors from Enterprise Ireland. And before even that, I've been talking to various people about this idea that I had about Market XLS. And I spoke to hundreds of people, even in London, in terms of setting up something like this. And eventually it started here in Ireland. And I got introduced to people like Brian Conway, who was the initial mentor, and he helped set up quite a lot initially. And then I was lucky to get lots of customers during the initial stages of the business who jumped in. I spoke to like thousands of customers over these period. One of the customer I would like to name is Catherine. She is one of the initial customers, and she paid the full subscription during the start of the business, and she eventually recently became an advisor and an investor in the business, you know.
Aha.
Yeah. So she is one of our very first customers. So I was lucky to get a very strong or very cooperative and very informative initial set of customers and people along this journey who were able to help and contribute as well and to implement the strategy which I always had in my mind. And the key objective was to make sure that that difference between the availability of information and the tools and systems are equally distributed for everyone.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I want to get into what Market XLS is in a minute, but really interesting. Did you know where Ireland was on the map before you pitched to Enterprise Ireland to come here?
I was in my previous role, I was based in the UK. I was working in London.
Okay,
Um,
for
yeah,
Colt, yeah.
for Colt, yeah. So for Colt for last 3 years before Market XLS, I was in UK. So I knew where Ireland was, but I went back to India from the UK, and I was lucky to get Enterprise Ireland on board with this business, and then it was a great help. It was a wonderful support system, and Galway was a wonderful place. So I decided that that's where you need to be, basically.
Absolutely. That's great. And I'm familiar with Colt from the 90s when I was at Fidelity Investments back in the late 90s. Fidelity spun off Colt Telecom,
Yes,
right?
yes,
That
yes.
became Colt Technology Services. Starting off and doing what looked like business process outsourcing in the early days of your career, and then moving into doing the MBA and then into more of a market research type role,
Yeah.
right? And when I first met you, Ankur, you just jumped to the natural conclusion that, okay, you're the CEO of a tech startup, very much geared towards finance, very much into the technical side of things. I just kind of took you for a programmer, but you never really had been doing that in your
No,
past, had you?
have never studied programming, and I did not know anything about programming. It's just that out of interest I picked up programming, and I've been always programming, and now I'm surprised that I could pick up so well these programming languages because of just interest. So I've been jumping around in various fields. I was like, okay, do everything what you
Yeah,
what you feel interested in. So even when I was doing marketing research, I was programming in Excel. When I was doing even in Colt, I was programming in various things. I was always interested in technology, and that was out of interest that I kept picking up programming all the time. But this was very useful when I started Market XLS, because if I did not know how to program, or if I was not technologically oriented, it would have been very difficult, especially for single founders at my stage of the career. It's sometimes becomes very difficult to find the right technology skills. So yeah, I mean, I have been doing lots of things, and I feel that it's just the kind of freedom that you get to do what you like to do, and something that doesn't feel like work. So that's what it was for me, basically.
I hear you.
So
I hear you.
yeah.
And I think part of my perception was probably just down to your colleague Robin. And shout out to Robin. He's more on the commercial side, and that he is so commercial, right?
Yeah,
So I just
well,
figured you were the more tech geared guy, but you're more of an all rounder. In having spent some time now with you and chatted with you and looked into your backstory a bit, which is pretty cool.
yeah, Robin is fantastic. Robin is one of the most wonderful commercial minds that I've met, and I kind of compliment him well because I feel I'm good with technology now after spending all this time just doing technology and nothing else. I think that's my forte now, essentially. So in those big decisions, we participate together and we all make good decisions, and I think that's what will take this company forward.
Gotcha. So tell us, what is Market XLS?
Yeah. So MarketXLS is an investment research platform, and we took all the investment research processes, complexities, and turned it into individually addressable building blocks. And these building blocks can be bundled in numerous ways to create useful stock market analysis. So essentially, in summary, what we do is we pull in billions of data points from multiple sources and we funnel them through to the end users in a familiar and easy to use interface, which is Excel. And as there are like effectively 750 million users of Excel, it's used almost everywhere. And when I started MarketXLS, I was surprised to see that everybody gives an option to export the analysis to Excel, but there is no one actually focusing on where the users are, what they like to do. So that was the point that, okay, if everyone is there and that's what they want at the end of the day, why not bring in everything there where they are rather than creating so many apps and other platforms? So this is how I thought it would be a good idea to bring in more and more analytics and information to Excel platform and then help the users essentially and try to reduce that gap that exists.
Gotcha. It's really, really interesting that, like you said, every app seems to have an option to export to CSV or export to Excel. I've seen 100, if not more, enterprise sales software folks demo their apps to me, and they always showed me the Excel export or the CSV export. And it's like, once you do that, what are you going to do with it? It kind of becomes a dumb spreadsheet,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And in fact, the thing is, not everyone knows programming, right? But it's easier to write a simple formula. And the idea is for you to be productive without being a programmer or technologically, you don't have to be very, very sound to produce useful analytics or create a model. And what we do is in Market XLS is that we query lots of data, we recalculate a lot of it, we create intelligence on the top of it. I mean, the whole architecture is designed to do this, to make sure when you consume that information and data in Excel or spreadsheets, it is easier to make sense of. And you can use it and bundle it in different ways to create templates that you can use on a daily basis. So it's not possible for anyone, especially as an individual investor, to create that kind of infrastructure to do this. The speed of pulling in information, the lag, the stability of the systems, the platforms, it's not that straightforward. And that is what we have tried to achieve with Market XLS. And I think we have been pretty successful.
Very good. And when I first learned about your business, thanks to Owen Fitzgerald from Enterprise Ireland and my co host on this podcast who couldn't join us tonight, I thought that it's almost ironic that with all the backlash in the last 10 years against Excel in financial services, i.e., the popular tagline of, hey, we're the Excel killer, I seem to now be finding Excel in the no code movement, right? Which is, it's not that it's come back, it's just, it's never gone anywhere.
Oh,
And I think there's a certain type of financial services business where they've been trying to move away from Excel for certain reasons, but there are plenty of businesses and individual users managing their own portfolios, like you said, where Excel is just the lifeblood of their business and they
absolutely.
don't have to let go, right? So, can you talk about that type of business user that just prefers that simplicity and that control of Excel and having it their own way to the more sophisticated portfolio management and analysis apps?
Oh, absolutely. And this is the point. So essentially, there are many users who, and inherently as human beings, we all desire freedom, flexibility, and control. And there is also an inherent need in many users about security. When you have an Excel spreadsheet in your on your desktop and you are performing your analysis there, the data is all there. That spreadsheet is on your desktop, right? It's not in the cloud somewhere. Nobody else keeps it for you. You keep it on your machine. And that's why there are many users who prefer to perform their stock market research in Excel. And I have been hearing similar things about Excel, it's going to go away or things like that for like decades now. I've been using Excel for like 20 years now and it doesn't go anywhere. I don't think it should go anywhere because it works. It works. It gives anybody the freedom and the flexibility to create useful solutions
Mm-hmm.
without having to spend tens of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars for that matter. I have in my corporate life came across various projects where we spent a lot of money to to do what? To replace Excel. But it didn't happen. And I don't think we should be so, I think there is a perception, and there has been a perception that Excel feels like old school in some people's mind. But if you think about it now, with Excel Online coming up, Excel 2019, it's fantastic. I don't think it should be that way. So I think if something works, then why not just use that and give use it more and more, actually, to produce something useful for those who need it, who want it, basically.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking of those small to medium sized wealth managers where MarketXLS would be quite effective for how they are looking after their clients' portfolios and
Oh,
how those
absolutely.
individual clients themselves
Yes, yes.
are actually looking at their portfolios. I'm thinking
Yes.
university students,
UST
right?
students, yeah.
Within finance classes that are all doing their trading competitions.
Absolutely. And in fact, as the life expectancy increases, more and more people are having to supplement their retirement income. And we have found many of our users using various option strategies to supplement their income. And these users, they prefer to do this in Excel, all this analysis in Excel. And to support that initiative, we have created like hundreds of templates of all option strategies out there, and entire libraries of content around option strategies. And we have found that it is very useful for our customers and for people who kind of manage their own retirement funds, and they grow their retirement funds. So that is one segment which is very keen in our analysis as well.
This episode of Money Never Sleeps is sponsored by Pat FinTech, demystifying fintech and digital finance for financial services professionals. Pat FinTech enable financial services professionals to transform their capabilities into the digital age with dedicated virtual training programs geared towards those that can develop, deliver, and monitor optimally customized user experiences balanced by appropriate governance, control, and oversight. To learn more about Pat FinTech, go to moneyneversleeps.ie/PAT FinTech. And how are you reaching users right now compared to how would you like to reach users?
So mostly so far it has been like an inbound SEO and online initiatives that we have been taking. We have been writing a lot of content around topics with a view to educate the users around trading options and trading stocks and investing in stocks and portfolio management, portfolio analytics, and all those topics. And so that's our primary channel right now. We also have a very strong channel of affiliates who are groups of blog owners and thought leaders and website owners who recommend MarketXLS. And we are now moving towards more of an outreach campaign, more of like just being out there. Like, so that's our strategy to grow in terms of acquiring new customers and helping them with their strategies as well for investments.
Very good. Very good. It's really interesting that you're sitting right there in Galway, close enough to where Ollie Walsh from Pipit is. And Ollie Walsh's story is that, listen, cash isn't really going anywhere. We have the whole world moving towards digital relationship with their money, right? And the media, the press is largely leaning towards cash is going to disappear. I think slowly over time it will, but there's a huge amount of the world that's still dependent on cash. Your story is
Absolutely.
quite similar. There's a huge component of the world that is still dependent on Microsoft Excel to manage their finances. I know myself personally, right? When I first heard about your product and asked you guys, hey, you taking crypto prices in as well? I was pretty excited to hear that answer was a yes, right? And that I
Yeah,
can look
yeah,
at my portfolio across my US trading accounts, my Irish trading accounts, and my crypto trading accounts all in
absolutely.
one view. And I can see it
Yeah.
all together, which is just fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Crypto is an area that we are focusing more and more on right now. We do have all the real-time prices and data for cryptos, and historicals as well. We perform a lot of analysis on cryptos as well. So that is, again, a focus area. I realize there are many investors who are diversifying their portfolios with cryptocurrencies. And I'm also quite positive and optimistic about the underlying technology, the blockchain technology for cryptos. So yeah, we are very upbeat on those additions as well.
Absolutely. Earlier on, when you said how you talked to Enterprise Ireland, you said, okay, well, listen, I can relocate myself to Ireland. How did you pick Galway over any other spot?
So essentially, we pitched in Galway. So Enterprise Ireland had the group of companies who were participating in that competition to pitch in Galway in the place called Portershed.
Yep.
And that's where we pitched. And I stayed here for 3 days and realized it's a fantastic city. It has everything that you would need. Everything is nearby. And Enterprise Ireland was also, in a way, supportive of the fact that if you would move to Galway or west of Ireland, there would be some incentives as well. So, for an online business like ours, it did not really matter if you're in Dublin or if you're in Galway. And I found Galway to be a fantastic place to live and to kind of stay and grow the business. And there was like a big, very good community feeling around here as well. The Portershed is a very nice place. We have been in the same place from that time onwards, basically. And there are like many startups here, and you get to meet lots of people, and it's fun. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Galway was the very first place in the world where I had very good Indian food.
Yeah, there are a few very good restaurants here. Yeah.
Yeah, so way back when. So it's got that going for it as well. Absolutely, I love Galway. We talk about Galway a lot on this show, and I'd be remiss not to mention Dave Cunningham. I gave him a shout out last week. I'll give him another one. But do you know Dave Cunningham? He turns up in the Portershed.
Yeah.
Quite a lot. Yeah. So good guy. Tell me, just kind of thinking back over your entire career, Ankur, there's a lot there, but what would you say is the top lesson learned from the earliest days of your career that you carried with you into MarketXLS?
I would say it's the hard work. I think there is no substitute to hard work, and you have to work quite hard to create a business. And I think another thing is I realize that since everything is moving towards technology and the accessibility to technologies is relatively easy now, learning to code was one of the skill which I thought was very useful, and I carried it over, especially at certain stage of your age and career. If you were to start a business, like it's sometimes not possible or very easy to find a good team around you who would have the right set of skills which will complement your business skills with technology skills. So working hard and learning to program were a couple of things which were very useful to me, and I took from my earlier career into MarketXLS basically.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, I never learned to code myself, but I did participate in a few projects where we were using the term co-programming, shared programming, whatever it was, where I was sitting next to the developer. I was the business guy, he was the developer, and we would develop client server applications together back in the 90s at Fidelity.
Yeah.
And I was offered the opportunity to go to work as a COBOL programmer. And I said, no, thank you. I thought about it long and hard. The guy, Dan Chatton, shout out to Dan. I don't know where the heck he is now. He was fantastic, and he was a great kind of development manager. But I was just like, I can't find myself as a COBOL programmer. I'm glad in the year 1996, I had the foresight to do that, right? Now, COBOL programmers are still in high demand, right? The world over by all these legacy banking applications that are still in place, right? Chris Skinner writes about them being called out of retirement to go fix a banking legacy system. But that's another story for another day.
Right.
I'm thinking about your product, what you guys are doing, Ankur, and I see a route to success for you guys. But if you think about your own view on this business and your own route to success, if you were to, in 5 to 10 years' time, look back on why you had been successful, given that I've got all the best expectations in the world that you will be, what is the measure of success that you think will be the most important?
Well, the thing is, if I were to look back in 10 years, I think one of the key measures of success will be If we are able to reduce that gap that exists between an individual investor versus somebody who has access to lots of tools and resources, and of course big companies, and if we were to reduce that gap significantly and we are part of that revolution, I think I would call this a success. So essentially, it's a larger idea. And the idea is we will produce the tools which are very customer focused, which are accessible to normal individual investors. And technology has made it possible for us to do that. And if you are able to reduce that gap and reduce that information asymmetry that exists, and we are in the middle of that revolution, I think I would call this a success, basically.
Yeah, I'm getting that, in that you can look at MarketXLS as one of the key tools to enable individuals, right?
Yes.
And whether it be individuals that are managing their own money or individuals managing money for others,
Yes.
to,
Yes.
like you said, take back control, but
Yeah.
also some of the promises of things such as blockchain and crypto is it become your own bank, right? And
Yeah.
something like what you guys are doing enables someone to become their own financial services professional.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
pretty cool stuff. I love it. I love it. We're at the point of the show, Ankur, where there is one final question remaining. What is one thing that people wouldn't expect to know about you?
Well, I'm a finance guy now, essentially. I've been a marketing guy, I've been a coder, I've been, in finance now, in stocks and different things. There's nothing unexpected about me. I don't like unexpected.
Okay.
So, yeah, everybody knows everything is like it's all open, basically. So,
All right. Well, I've told this one before, just so you get the context of I can talk backwards, right?
really.
That's what, when Owen interviewed me way back, he said, Pete, what's one thing people wouldn't expect to know about you? And I actually might have shared it earlier now that I think about it. But when I was a kid, lying up awake at night in the hot summers of Boston, it was hard to sleep. We didn't have air conditioning back then. To try
Right.
to get to sleep, I would look at the bookcase at the foot of my bed and look at the book titles. And I would just read the book titles on the bindings so that I could slowly try to read myself to sleep just by reading the words I saw, 5 feet in front of my face. And
Right.
if I got through it and I was still awake, I'd go back to the start and I'd try to read the book titles backwards. Right. So then I just became a thing. I knacked Klat Sidrakab, which is I can talk backwards.
Oh, that's a great skill. Yeah.
So anything like that in your history?
Not really. I mean,
No.
I can't think of anything right now.
Pretty straightforward guy then, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, not a wacko like me.
Not like that. It's just that I can't think of anything right now like that.
All right. What's your favorite food?
Oh, I like Indian food is good because I like things spicy.
Yeah.
So yeah. So as you mentioned, there are very many good restaurants here. So I eat out many times a month, and yeah, I like Indian food. Is just the way you grew up and things like that. So it just is nice. I'm sure
Absolutely.
you
Do you
like it
cook?
as
Do you
well.
cook it yourself?
Oh, never. I'm a very bad cook. I can
Okay.
never cook.
All right. Well, I should give you my chicken curry and fish curry recipes. You might like those.
Oh, I would try that.
All right. They're very
Maybe I'll
easy.
start cooking. Yeah.
It's from a cookbook called 30-Minute Hero, right? So
30-minute video.
30-Minute Hero. We can work on that together.
Oh, absolutely,
Cool.
absolutely.
All right.
When you're around Galway, I'll try it first time, and then you would be my guest, basically.
Awesome. Thank you. No, I can't wait. I can't wait to get back out to Galway. It's been too long. And hopefully over the next few months, we'll definitely make it there. But listen, Ankur, wonderful to have you on the show tonight. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you telling the MarketXLS story and giving us some insight as to how you've taken it this far. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Pete. Really appreciate that. It was very nice talking to you.
Awesome. That does it for this week, folks. Thanks to Ankur for opening up his mind to help us figure out why he does what he does. Links to get in touch with Ankur and learn more about MarketXLS are on our website at moneyneversleeps.ie. So check us out online and subscribe to our Money Never Sleeps newsletter as well. Also, thanks to Conan Brophy from Create Sound for mixing and editing this episode. Conan is an excellent media man to get in touch with when you're thinking about launching your own podcast. As for me, I'm the founding partner at Norio Ventures, and I'm an early stage startup advisor and investor focused on fintech and digital assets. If you'd like to talk to me about your business, drop me an email on pete@norioventures.com. Finally, till next time, thanks for listening. See ya!
Money never sleeps, pal.